There is information that is coming from the individual that is correct. Messy, beautiful souls. Things become messy. There we go. You can see. Beautiful souls, today's reading did get heated. You'll see me in that second clip become nauseous. And then I wrap it up in the third clip. A, because the energies that were coming through were too intense for the mental body. And B, there was so much personal information coming through. It is not my place to share that. So it was time to wrap that reading up. You're going to be able to see, and many of you feel for yourselves the response that was coming in through the reading. But I do want to mention about the treasure that was found within him, which was connected to information. It's important to note the wealth and the value of that information, especially for anyone that does follow him. Let's get to the reading, beautiful souls. You asked for a reading on Billy Carson next. Let's go. Okay, so this is a gentleman that he has been building. The building is related to treasury, a wealth of information that comes from this person's heart space, the well of his heart. So then, as his life force energy expands, it is able to continue in that building momentum of what he knows. Yes, there we go. And he's actually mirroring that on the video. And here it is. Because as we get to that wealth of information, it gets very heated. Which means not only is there conflict from the information that he shares, but it can create an enormous amount of overwhelm and anxiety as he communicates this. What's important to note and what wants to be communicated at this time is that not all of the information that he is communicating is clear. That is a not clear. And even as we go there, yes, the stomach area becomes severely contracted, which is a frightened state, and not being able to see clearly the way. However, it's important to know that not all of the information is unclear. There is information that is coming from the individual that is correct. The timing of the information, and especially the knowledge that comes from the well of his heart space, much is accurate. So that must not be dismissed. But what is happening at this time that we connect to his field? And again, he's actually doing it with his hands right now. It's confusion. I don't follow this person. I don't know who he is. But what it tells me is that sometimes when people have been on a very long journey to try and share something that the world may not know and the world may need to hear, it's a discovery. He is part of that. He is part of that mission and that collection of people that is bringing a light of discovery, which is marvelous, because that is an open space where consciousness can not only thrive, but it can, yes, it expands itself. It can breathe more life, which opens up the individual's own mental spheres and their own perception of the world. However, if someone has been on the journey for quite some time, their own understanding, their own delving into certain findings and research, and the well of the information that they already hold, it can become meddled. It can start to become muddled. It can start to become foggy. Here we go. We move up to the higher energy centers of the body now. This is where the confusion is. Why is that important to know at this time? Because if you are absorbing this channel of communication, it is to feel for yourself what rings true for you. Discard anything that, after listening to the channel, anything that makes you feel ungrounded, too heady, headaches, and yeah, that's the mental body there spinning out, where you actually come out of your own reality, the physical, and the density of the dimension that we are in. If you start to become too heady and you're in this place for a long period of time, it's unhealthy. It can take you into different worlds through the mind. It takes you out of where you are, what's important to you, even what and where you should be driving and sending your own attention, energy, and awareness. The body is the anchor, beautiful souls. Wherever the body is truth in this current time of where we live with the human body, the frame. Wherever this is your anchor. Let's move on to the next clip and let's see. There we go. So this is a conflict now. This is a very heated conflict coming in. It is so heated that the room itself feels the energy here. and around the field. So whatever is happening here, there is much tension, there is much stress. And again, sometimes it can come from just being on the journey for such a long period of time, of sharing valuable information. But then, as we all experience, even in the highs, we are met with certain challenges, things that begin to surface, and we must find ways to resolve, to overcome, before we can move to the next stage, the next step, and just come back into a place of balance and harmony. This here is out of balance. This here is that's a fight, beautiful souls. So this could be more private. So it's not my place to go in and to dissect what might be happening inside of his own personal energy. But it's not an energy to stay in, because very similar to that first clip and that communication, right at that vibrational point, what it wanted to communicate. Messy, beautiful souls. Things become messy. There we go. You can see, feel the anxiety, and even we'll move on to the next clip now, because nauseating, it becomes very nauseous. It's unclear. And even maybe any body language experts, even as I tuned into that, he then goes on to fiddle with the right side of his hand. There's some more movements happening there, but I'm not going to continue the clip. But that's one for the body language experts. Okay, final clip, beautiful souls, and it was uploaded 9 years ago. And let's just see if there is a similar energy here, or maybe something's changed. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. This is a seeker. It's a real seeker here. And this feels youthful, meaning that he is just starting out. He is just starting out. And he's getting ready for quite some, well, it's a journey, isn't it? For quite some journey. And even here, you can see that the voice channel, he wants for his voice and what he is holding inside. And there are treasures. He wants that to come through and radiate out to the people. But again, we get the word lost. And that current there was in the previous two clips. It actually runs through all three clips and throughout those timelines. I'm not going to go into that, because it can start to stain a person. That's not necessary here. We all get lost along our way, and many of us, we are trying our best with what we know and what we understand, and we are all trying to find a clear way to not harm others, to not give misinformation, and to not be a know-it-all, and to stay open within ourselves. So I'm gonna close that down. Beautiful souls, you requested a reading on Billy Carson. That was going too much into the mental sphere. Of course, if someone like this then asked me exactly what is happening in the energy body there of their personal energy, I would be able to freely share with them exactly what's happening and what's going on, and to identify that vibrational standpoint, which is the root of the beginning of all that we are creating, even the unconscious. That is not my territory as we were coming to the end. And as I mentioned, it's important to know when to disconnect. But yes, it is starting to affect my own field as well. But share with me how you felt during the reading. Maybe you experienced your own subtle, or maybe a little bit more, sensations coming into your body. And I'll see you in the comment section. Love and blessings, beautiful souls. Love and blessings.